The next global conflict has already started, but nobody is looking in the right place. And by the time you realize where, it might already be too late. When you turn on the news, you see tanks in Eastern Europe, you see aircraft carriers in the South China Sea, you see burning horizons in the Middle East. Those are the visible scars of an old world order. But while the world stares at these stages, a new game board is being silently assembled. It is not a land of heat and dust. It is a land of eternal ice, silent, almost forgotten. Greenland. The world's most powerful nations are moving toward this frozen giant right now, not loudly, not with declarations of war, but strategically, like predators marking a territory that doesn't belong to anyone yet. If you think this is about land, you haven't understood the system. It was never about the territory. It's about what happens when the very foundation of our modern civilization, geography itself, suddenly melts away. Illusion break. Most people see Greenland as a white void on the map, an irrelevant block of ice at the edge of civilization, a buffer zone for polar bears and scientific expeditions. That assumption is your first mistake, and that is exactly what the superpowers are counting on. While your attention is held captive by visible conflicts, Taiwan, Ukraine, Gaza, a physical redesign of our planet is happening in the background. The ice is disappearing, and what it reveals is not just bedrock. It is a completely new map of power. We live in a world built on the illusion of stability. We believe trade routes are fixed. We believe defense borders are carved in stone or ice. But what happens to a system when its physical barriers melt? The illusion is that Greenland is isolated. The reality is, Greenland is the new geographical ground zero, the center of a circle where the US, Russia, and China will soon stand face to face. No buffers, no warning time. To understand why Greenland shatters the system, we have to look at how the world works today. For centuries, global trade has followed rigid paths. The Suez Canal, the Panama Canal, these are the arteries of the world economy, narrow bottlenecks, choke points. Whoever controls these bottlenecks controls the pulse of the world. If a ship gets stuck in the Suez, the entire global economy shivers. It is a fragile system, a system of dependency, but that system is breaking. As the Arctic ice melts, so with the northern sea routes air opening. Paths that were impassable for millennia are becoming a reality, and they change everything. Imagine being able to send goods from Asia to Europe while saving 40% of the time. No pirates off Somalia, no Suez Canal fees, no bottlenecks, just direct access. This isn't just a shortcut, it is a radical shift in the global logistics architecture. When trade shifts, wealth shifts, and when wealth shifts, military power follows like a shadow. And Greenland doesn't just sit next to this shift. Greenland is the control tower. It is the invisible aircraft carrier controlling the entrance to this new world. Whoever holds Greenland holds the key to the Arctic, and whoever holds the Arctic dictates the rules of trade in the 21st century. Let's go deeper into the system. Let's look at it through the lens of kinetic power, military strategy. The United States perfected its defense system over decades. Radar networks, missile defense shields, carrier strike groups. Everything is designed to intercept threats from the east, the west, or the south. NATO is a bulwark against the east. The Pacific is a chessboard against China. But the North was always safe. Why? Because nature handled the defense. The ice was the wall. No one attacks through an impassable icy wasteland. That wall is falling down. The melting ice creates a gargantuan blind spot, a region where defense is thin, where response times are slower, where presence is limited. In modern warfare, you don't attack strength, you exploit the gap. The Arctic is the largest strategic gap in human history. If you launch from Greenland, so you reach every power center in the northern hemisphere in a fraction of the time it would take from traditional bases. Suddenly, the unimportant ice is the most valuable strategic high ground in the world. Escalation, the race of giants. Look at who is already acting while you watch this video. China recently started calling itself a near-Arctic state. Look at the map. Geographically, that makes absolutely no sense. But systemically, it makes perfect sense. China is investing billions in Greenlandic mines. They are building the digital Silk Road through the Arctic Ocean. They are preparing for a system that doesn't even exist yet for most people. Russia isn't just reacting, Russia is leading. They haven't just reopened old Soviet Arctic bases, they've upgraded them with state-of-the-art missile technology. They are building the world's largest fleet of icebreakers. They are marking the seabed under the North Pole with their flag. And the USA, do you remember when Donald Trump wanted to buy Greenland? The world laughed, the media made jokes. But in the Pentagon, nobody laughed. It wasn't a joke. It was a desperate acknowledgement of reality. If you lose Greenland, you lose control of the entrance to your own continent. 3 global powers, 1 region with no clear rules, no fixed borders in the melting water. This isn't just competition. This is a systemic collision waiting to happen. But there is a third layer, a layer that is sitting right in your pocket. Your smartphone, your electric car, the AI generating these images. Under the Greenlandic ice lie treasures that will power the global economy for the next 100 years: rare earth elements, critical minerals, neodymium, praseodymium, terbium. Right now, the entire Western world is on a life support drip from China. Over 80% of the processing of these minerals happens there. This dependency is the West's Achilles heel. Whoever controls the supply of these raw materials controls innovation. Whoever controls innovation controls the future. Greenland is the only realistic alternative. It is the Saudi Arabia of rare earths. This isn't about oil, it's about the fundamental building blocks of decarbonization and high technology. The battle for Greenland is the battle for who holds technological supremacy in the year 2050. If Greenland falls into China's sphere of influence, the West is technologically checkmated. And this is the true game: trade routes, missile stations, and the blood of modern tech all in one place. Core message and final escalation: Greenland is not the story. Greenland is the signal. We are in a phase that historians call the system shift. The old system, based on the conditions of the 20th century, is eroding. The physical world is changing faster than our political institutions. The danger of slow shifts is that they can be ignored. You can pretend the melting ice is just an environmental problem. You can pretend the maneuvers in the north are just routine, until they aren't. Every great collapse in history started exactly like this: unnoticed, underestimated, mocked, until the tipping point was reached and the old map became worthless. While you are looking at the old fires, the world order is being re-rolled in the north. Why ending? So it's not about who officially owns Greenland. It's not even about territory. The real question is, who has already moved into position while we were still debating? Who controls the infrastructure before the ice is completely gone? And the most important question of all, who has already won this game before the rest of the world even realized it had started? Watch the shift.